I'm writing a book, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how I took my mind map and refined it down into topics for my book. So far in my journey to becoming an author and writing a book, I've covered my process of starting my writing journey, kind of getting it off the ground, and in the last video I talked about creating my mind map. I talked through why and how I made the mind map and how it helps with writing a book. Today I want to cover refining that mind map down to the topics that I'm going to cover in my book. So as I talked about in the previous video, once I had my mind map complete, I had 16 topics on the board. And these topics were like main idea topics for chapters, as well as lessons for each topic and stories that went along with each topic. But I knew for the book, I couldn't have 16. I really wanted to get down to 7 to 10 chapters for the book. I felt like those were good numbers to have as far as the plan goes and an easy path and journey to follow for the book. So I looked on the board, I looked at all 16 and I started reading through them, and honestly, I felt like every topic I had on there was a really good topic to cover. And I had stories that went along with each of them that fell into the story I was trying to tell. And the stories and lessons that I wanted to teach were relevant to my audience, were helpful in my journey and my story, and I felt like they were relevant to the book. So here's how I refined it down to get to that 7 to 10 number that I wanted. I went back to, how do I filter this down? Well, I looked at the top of my board where I had my target audience, who they were, what they want, what problems do they have getting in their way, what's the main idea for the book. So I started using these as filters for the book. And these are filters you can use in everyday marketing for business. If you're just writing an email, they're great filters to use. So 1, who is this for? 2, what do they want? 3, what problem do they have getting in their way? Because my book needed to be for a specific audience. It needed to be about something they want, and it needed to solve a problem that's getting in the way of what they want. So when I looked at those filters, it became clear that some of the topics that I had on my mind map on the board needed to be cut. They needed to be cut out of the book because they weren't 100% relevant to the exact audience and topic and problems and what the character wants for my book. So not every topic on the board solved my main idea. My target audience is 15 to 22 year olds who are about to start or who are working at their first job. Now, all 16 topics on the board did follow that filter. Now, what do they want? They want to get the most out of their first job. This is where I first started cutting some topics. I had some topics that were almost more relevant to a second job or a first leadership role that weren't really relevant to people working their first job for the first time. And then I talk about, what do they want? What problems do they have getting in their way? And again, as I went through these 3 filters and thought about my main idea for the book, which is how to get the most out of your first job, while all 16 topics on the board had to do with my journey and getting the most out of my first job, I stayed at my first job a long time. And it became clear that 6 of the topics on the board were more geared towards a leadership role than it was a first-time employee. And so those 6 topics got cut from the book. And then I was left with the 10 topics for my book. These 10 topics were relevant to my audience. They served the book's main idea. They solved problems for my audience. The 10 topics, including stories and life lessons that I learned, became the 10 chapters for my book. Some of these topics on the board include building a personal brand, how to get your first raise. More to come from the topics that are actually in the book in the final version. But my next step after the mind map was taking these 10 topics and turning that into an outline for the book. And I would use the outline to then write my rough draft. So here's the thing. I need your help. I have a title for my book that you can find out, but I cannot decide on a subtitle. I'm having a hard time deciding on a subtitle. So if you click the link for book updates below in the episode description, you'll learn the title of my book. You'll get an email immediately that has the title. And I'm also going to send you a survey to vote for the subtitle of my book. I have 15 ideas for a subtitle. Some of them are similar, but 15 different ideas, and I need help refining my 15 subtitle ideas down to 1. So you can have a part in naming my book. Just click the link below for book updates in the episode description, and I'll also send you an update every 1 or 2 weeks about where the book is in the process and more information about the book as I get that ready. In my next video, I'm going to talk about turning my mind map into an outline. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.